once again we come across this subject. Is there connection with Freemason and Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, what I'm going to show you today is not a matter of that they're obviously connected with Freemasons, but I'm going to show you a governing body member that was caught directly on JW.org performing a clear Masonic ritual. So let's get right into it. And before I even get into it, I have to just say, when I went on JW.org, I seen this really corny article, Strength Comes from Jehovah, right? I mean, these people are such idiots. But anyway, so one of my subscribers had seen something that she felt was a clear ritual. And it was two things that she spotted. And let me show you exactly what she's talking about, because when I dug deep into it, it clearly is a ritual. So if you go to JW broadcast in December 2024, which was the annual meeting, part one, and you're going to want to go to about 28 minutes and 30 seconds. So notice how Brother Loesch holds up this mirror, and let me know what you think, if it's kind of odd.
You will. And we wish you Jehovah's rich blessing in this endeavor. So keep polishing, keep reflecting the light. But how can you?
Now, what was kind of strange about that, and this is what my subscriber noticed, is that he gives a whole entire talk and he goes up on stage with this big mirror, right? That's a huge mirror, not a small one. And he goes up stage or goes on stage with this big mirror just for like 3 seconds. Now, to the untrained eye, you may not find that suspicious, but I used to be a public speaker in the organization. And you're not going to bring up a mirror that big just to show it for like 3 seconds. It's not even worth your time putting it on stage for that. But if you look carefully at the way that he holds it up, you'll notice that there's a specific reason that he's taken the time to make sure that this mirror is seen. So let's take a look at it again. You see, if that was just a simple prop to make some sort of point about a mirror, he wouldn't have to show it the way that he did to the whole audience. It's sort of like during the memorial, where the whole reason that they pass the bread and wine around and they want everybody to touch it is to make sure that everybody rejects it, right? So this is kind of similar, where there's a specific reason that he doesn't just put up the mirror as he's talking, as opposed to making sure that every angle of the room can see the mirror. Now, I don't know exactly what this part of this ritual is, but again, to the trained eye, you can probably see that there's something to this. Now, if you think that me and my subscriber are basically, stretching, or, we're reading too much into this, let me show you the next thing that she sent that connects with this. So at some point, now this is the same annual meeting, but it's broken up in parts. So now you want to go to JW broadcast in January 2025, and this is part two of that same meeting. And you want to go to about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm sorry, an hour and 26 minutes. Or actually, yeah, go to an hour and 26 minutes and 50 seconds. And at the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see Brother Loesch sitting in a seat after he given that talk. So look very closely at what you see him wearing as he's sitting at his seat at the bottom right corner.
Yes.
So why is Brother Loesch wearing big white gloves? I mean, can anybody explain? I mean, if you look at everybody else in the audience, I don't know, there's probably a couple thousand people there. Why is he wearing white gloves like that? Right? I mean, is he Mickey Mouse? Right? Is he Michael Jackson Moonwalker? So what would be the purpose of a governing body member giving a talk, making sure everybody sees the mirror, and then now he's got white gloves on? Right? So unless you think it's a reference to Mickey Mouse or Michael Jackson Moonwalker, right, there's something more to this. So let's take a look at it again. So why is he wearing white gloves? Because he's a Freemason, right? Plain and simple. The white gloves is something known in Freemasonry, and it has to do a lot of time with doing certain rituals. So I'm not going to go into everything like I normally do because at this point, if you cannot see the clear connection that these people are Freemasons, I'm not going to waste my time trying to super explain everything. Like it's common sense at this point. So going back to what my subscriber first noticed about the mirror, and now we see the white gloves. Was she right that Brother Loesch is performing a Masonic ritual? Right now, she didn't say Masonic, but she noticed that the mirror seemed like it was some sort of ritual, and then she noticed the white gloves. So clearly, this is Masonic. So was he performing a ritual? Why he has the mirror that he's, for some reason, made it a point to have to make sure that every corner of the room, right, the mirror got shine in every corner of the room. And then after he sits back down, he put these white gloves on. Right? I mean, as you can see when he's holding up the mirror, that there's nothing wrong with his hands, right? So his hands are perfectly fine when he was up there giving a talk. So why does he have white gloves after the talk and most likely before the talk? Well, let's take a deeper look at the mirror itself. So when I did some research, this is some of the things that I found. I didn't have time to read any of these books because it's enough common sense for me to know what Brother Loesch is doing. So anyway, here's a book you can find on Internet Archive, Freemason Magazine, Masonic Mirror. Right? And here's something else I found, a look into the Masonic Mirror. And this is interesting. So Chamber of Reflection, right? So if you read about what the Chamber of Reflection is, it's some sort of Freemasonic ritual that has to do with a reflection. But here's where it gets really interesting. So it mentions Freemasons use mirrors primarily as a symbolic tool for self-reflection and introspection. But notice what it says under the Chamber of Reflection. The chamber is a sometimes controversial small room where a candidate is left to meditate. before taking the oath of a Mason, right? So keep that in mind, a candidate. And then it says, reminding the initiate to remove the mask of life, right? So you see these words, candidate, initiate, and then again it says to show the candidate something about their enemy. So do you remember what they said when we got baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses? What did they call us, right? During the baptismal talk, they would say the baptismal candidates, right? So do you see where I'm going with this? Because it's going to be more clear as we go on. So yes, a mirror is used in Masonic rituals, and some of these rituals have to do with a Masonic candidate, right? Or a Masonic initiate. So now let's take a look at the white gloves. Now, the white gloves have many different meanings. So I do want to say that there's many reasons why they'll put on, there's many reasons why they will put on the white gloves. But notice what this says that I found. It says Freemasons wear white gloves, particularly during initiation ceremonies for new members, right? And then again, it talks about significance of white gloves for new members. So now we have two things that show that when Masons are initiating new members, the mirror is part of one of their rituals, and wearing white gloves is significant for initiation ceremonies. So going back to what I said in the beginning, when my subscriber felt that just by looking at the way that he held that mirror, that there was basically some sort of ritual, and then the white gloves connected with that, did Brother Loesch actually perform a Masonic ritual to initiate new members? Well, notice what he says during this talk. So now if we go back to part one of the annual meeting, go to about 24 minutes and 51 seconds and notice what he says.
With that in mind, it is a pleasure to announce that two additional brothers have been appointed to serve as members of the governing body. Well, brothers Jody Jedele and Jacob Rumpf.
So normally I do over explain things, but I'm going to keep this short and brief because at this point, if you're an XJW and you keep trying to say just because Russell liked pyramids or Russell was just a product of his time and all this crap, I don't know why other XJW channels keep gaslighting people and try to pretend that these people are not Freemasons at the top. Right? So here are the facts. What are the odds that a governing body member is going to bring a mirror that big, that's so big that it's not even worth bringing it on stage just to show it for a few seconds? But in a very ritualistic way, he makes sure that the mirror is pointed at every corner of the room, which, if that's not suspicious enough looking, then after he's seen wearing a clear white glove, and don't say there's nothing wrong with his hands because you can clearly see his hands are perfectly fine, right? So then he's wearing a white glove, and both of these things are connected with Freemasons initiating new members, right? So not only do you have those odds, but then what are the odds that the same governing body member that shows up with the mirror and is wearing the white gloves is the same governing body member that announces the appointment of two new governing body members? This is a clear Masonic ritual, period. right? And it's a little bit deeper than just New Masons. Obviously, on this level of Freemasonry, like these are like the dark Freemasons that are connected with the Illuminati, right? These are not the average Freemasons at your local lodge. So most likely these two governing body members are clearly already Freemasons, and this is an initiation to some sort of higher degree, right? Some sort of secret degree as members of the governing body. So unless you think those gloves are a reference to Mickey Mouse or Michael Jackson Moonwalker, it's clear that the governing body members are clearly Freemasons.